te atuku. He tiu, he huka, he hauhu, ti he mariola. Yeah, I've got my meeting in progress. Got it. So, welcome to this first meeting of the year for the ALC Regional Network. And we have people, I think, that are new to this meeting for the first time. So it would be good to do some introductions, especially if you haven't been on this meeting before, just so we know who you are and you can get an idea who we are too. So, Kathy, do you want to do a quick start and we'll take it from you?
Hi everyone, Kathy Mott. I'm in Adelaide. I'm the Executive Manager for the ILC. Welcome everyone. This is our third regional network for the beginning of the year. So we've already had one in Europe and one in the Americas. And I will talk a little bit about both of those in a little while, Kath, but welcome everyone.
Yeah. And I am Kathleen Aspinall. I'm the convener for the Asia Pacific Network. For those who haven't met me before, I think I've met most people by now, but yeah, kia ora. Jake.
Hello, everyone. I've been a member with the ILC for about a year and a half. I'm a PhD student and a clinician researcher in Melbourne, so working out of St Vincent's Hospital and the Nursing Research Institute, which is associated with ACU and St Vincent's Sydney.
And Jake just won a scholarship with us, and so he's coming to our conference and leadership program. So well done, Jake.
And I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
Look forward to meeting some of you face to face there.
Victoria, do you want to go next?
Kia ora, I'm Victoria Crisp. I'm the People and Professional Development Lead at Counties Manukau Health. So lead a team that looks after all of our education and training across the organisation. Nurse educators, student placements for nursing and allied health, nursing practice, mandatory training, leadership development, workforce development. So there's a team of about 80 of us that service the organisation. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Victoria. Sharon?
Kia ora, everyone. My name is Sharon, and I'm the nurse consultant for Fundamentals of Care at Health New Zealand at Counties Manukau. I have been to the leadership already, so in the Adelaide last year. So we'll be presenting on today, so you'll hear a little bit more about it. Excited to see you all again, those familiar faces, and welcome all the new ones. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Shirley, would you like to go next?
Yep, thank you. Kia ora. Hello, I'm Shirley Ross. I'm the Director of Clinical and Care Services at Oceania Healthcare in New Zealand. We're a national aged care provider. We've got about 35 care centres across the North and the South Island of New Zealand. And I joined the ILC late last year, really excited about what this Excellence in Care, Fundamentals in Care program can bring to our sector. I've been networking a little bit with our colleagues at through Kath and our colleagues at Middlemore, Counties Manukau, so appreciate that. And looking forward to this meeting today and meeting you all. Hopefully, I'm also coming to Oxford, which I'm very excited about. So, yeah, thank you.
Right, looking forward to seeing you there, Shirley. Jen, would you like to go next?
Yes, hi. I am Jen Moss from ILC. I'm Marketing Communications Events Manager. I have terrible internet connection today, so I might drop out, but I'm excited to hear what everyone's been up to.
Nice to see you, Jen. Rebecca?
Kia ora everyone, my name's Rebecca Irwin. I'm the Clinical Nurse Director of Practice Policy and Standards at Counties Manukau with my colleagues already on the call, and lovely to see your face, Shirley. I've heard so much about you, so looking forward to meeting you in person. I'm also coming to Oxford, which I'm very excited about, so look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
Right, looking forward to Oxford too. Jo, you're next. I know you're presenting later, but if you'd like to have a quick introduce.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Jo Murray. I'm an academic at Flinders University in Adelaide. I'm a speech pathologist by background and interested in fundamentals of care framework and how we can particularly improve our care for people with swallowing difficulties. So you'll hear from me a little bit later today. I'm presenting just an update on where we're at with one of our projects on oral health.
Looking forward to that, Jill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anne?
Oh, hello, everyone. I'm Anne Meta-Adams. Most people just call me Meta. I'm also an academic at Flinders University. I teach and I do research. I finished my PhD last year that looked at non-pharmacological strategies to reduce agitation in the intensive care unit. So that's some work that I'm still working on at the moment and looking at collaborating with researchers in Denmark around this as well.
It's fascinating. Thanks, Meta. Amanda, is it?
Hi everyone, I'm Amanda Tate. I work at Minder Incorporated here in South Australia. We provide support for people living with a disability. I'm also coming to Oxford, which is super exciting to have the disability sector involved in the fundamentals of care. I'm a registered nurse by trade, worked in ICU and general ward nursing, as well as working here at Minder. So we do all the training and incident management. So very excited to meet everyone.
Nice to meet you, Amanda. Look forward to seeing you in Oxford. And Maria.
Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Maria Alejandra Piñero de Plaza. I work at Flinders University and under Alison Kitson research area, mostly around fundamental care and care networks and trying to measure care. So I'm collaborating with people from Flinders and different universities, some from Spain and others from Colombia. So we're trying to see how we can measure, model, and improve the application and understanding of fundamental care.
Thanks. A truly international flavour there. Krista.
Oh, sorry, that might be me, is it? Crystal. And hello, everyone. I'm a nursing lecturer at Adelaide University, and I'm currently doing my PhD looking at fundamental care in the ICU from a nurse perspective and hoping to look at ways to how to support them to deliver it. And excited to be able to share my systematic review findings at Oxford. So it'd be great to see a few of you.
Looking forward to that, Crystal. And Christy, I'm going to go to next, and then I can carry on along my lines. So that's Christy Kwong.
Hi, I'm Christy Kwong. I also work at Minder Incorporated in disability. I'm the clinical lead in quality, and just looking forward to learning more about you and hearing from everyone at ILC.
Thanks. I think we got you in double time there as well. So a little bit of an echo, Christy, but thanks so much for that. Tiffany.
Hi, Kath. Lovely to see everybody. So glad we're going to have such a huge Australian, New Zealand, Pacific contingent to take over Oxford in June. So that's going to be great. We must all get together and have a proper celebration. So I'm Tiffany Conroy. I'm from Flinders University. I'm the Deputy Dean for Nursing Leadership and Innovation. I'm also a member of the ILC Management Committee, and delighted to hear about the various presentations that are happening today.
Thanks, Tiff. Katie?
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for having me. And my name is Katie Billing. I work at the Commission on Excellence and Innovation in Health, and I'm the Executive Director for Consumer and Clinical Partnerships. Within that work, I look after South Australia's statewide clinical networks and also work really closely with communities of practice, really to look at, I guess, effectiveness and efficiency, not so much quality and safety in terms of what we might know it as in hospitals, but certainly around effectiveness and efficiency and delivering better outcomes for consumers. Also really interested in and working in the space around workplace wellbeing and how we make work more joyful for clinicians generally, and certainly for me, really interested and lucky to attend the session in Adelaide last year for the leadership group. I'm really interested in mastery and the ability of people to really, clinicians to really be able to get what they need out of their work and feel valued in doing their work, and the connection of that with fundamentals of care and being able to deliver what we need to deliver for our patients. So really fascinated about the link between workforce wellbeing and job satisfaction, if you like, job design and how we create jobs and how we might be able to work alongside of the fundamentals of care to do that.
Sounds great, Katie. Thanks very much. I like the sound of the joy. You like joy. Carleen, I think you're next now.
Thanks, Kathleen. My name is Carleen Thornton. I also come from Flinders University and I'm on the ILC Management Committee. My role last year focused on embedding and strengthening fundamentals of care within our Bachelor of Nursing curriculum. And this year we're going to do a little bit more of a dive into that and trying to better understand how well our students were able to embed within their practice, within their PEP topics, but also the confidence and competence of our teaching staff as well in relation to the fundamentals of care. Thanks.
Thanks, Carleen. Laurie?
Hi, I'm Laurie Grealish. I am working at Gold Coast Health, where I'm supporting the education team, nursing education team, around how to incorporate fundamentals of care into practice and policy. And really looking for opportunities for our teams to engage more in the regional network. Thank you.
All right, nice to see you, Laurie. Now, Yumi, I think you're next. I don't think you've been yet.
Should mute. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Yes.
Yes.
Hi everyone. I'm a PhD student at the Flinders University, also the casual academic. What made me interested, and when I taught the teaching at the third year undergraduate student, we constantly talking about fundamental of care. So I originally from Japan. I also has connection with the education team over there. So it made me interested. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much. Thanks very much. Now who we is it Margaret Cahill?
Yes, good morning. My name is Margaret Carl. I'm a clinical nurse consultant for the statewide Eat, Walk, Engage program here in Queensland, a delirium prevention program that I am advocating strongly focuses on the implementation of the fundamentals of care from an interdisciplinary perspective. Very excited to see so many new people. I'm very disappointed I missed last November, and very disappointed even more so now that I'm not going to be able to attend Oxford, but I look forward to hearing all of the fabulous presentations and certainly connecting with a lot of you over the course of the next 12 months, now that life is a little more settled within the Eat, Walk, Engage world. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you, Margaret. And maybe we could have a presentation from you on what you're doing so far. I think you planned to last year and it couldn't happen, so that would be fantastic. Yeah, good to see you. Alison, I think you might be our lucky last unless I've missed anything.
Yeah, and hello everyone, and of course people know me in technology, so I've managed to do something to my camera and I can't turn it on, so you're just going to get the voice. And just to echo Margaret's comment, it's so wonderful to see so many more and new voices and a diverse range of people at the regional network. So I'm just so pumped and excited to hear what you're going to be talking about. So thank you.
Thanks, Alison. I think if there's anybody that hasn't had an opportunity to introduce yourself, please, now's your chance. No, I think I've got everybody who's on my screen anyway. So next we're going to have an update from our management committee. So I'm not quite sure which one of the management committee is going to do that, but Kathy or Tiff, would that be you?
Yeah, I'll start off and invite Carleen and Tiff, Alison to add things in. So we're heading towards the end of our first full financial year of operation for the ILC. I know people think the ILC has been around for a long time, and it has, close to 15 years, but in its current form, it's only a very small child. But things are going extremely well in our new structures. And of course, we're heading into our conference, and we have still got tickets for sale. So we're busy promoting those, particularly in the Europe and UK regions. Got a great lineup of speakers. We've got this year something a little bit different. We're actually running some concurrent sessions during day 2. So we've actually got 3 workshops where people will have an hour and a half on the second day of focusing down on 3 major topics. So research, education, and practice. And so those workshops are shaping up really nicely. They've got groups of people who are planning those, all experts in their field. So more details about those will be coming out really soon, and we'll be asking people to nominate which one they want to go into. But we've also got some other concurrent sessions on day 2 in those 3 streams where we had such an amazing response from the call for abstracts. We had 100 abstracts presented to us, and we wanted to give everyone as much as possible a chance to present. So that's why we've gone for the concurrent sessions. So great program lined up, very excited, still in heavy promotion. So, and as Tiff said, wonderful that we're going to have a great representation from the Asia Pacific. The other thing is, of course, we've got our leadership program, and a number of people have spoken about that today who have come. So Shirley has been, Sharon has been, Katie, I know you attended. So it's been a great opportunity for us to just recently touch base with the people who have been doing that work since October last year from the Adelaide Leadership Program. But we're also in touch with the people who came to the US program in Portland, Maine. And so we're now tracking that. So we've got an alumni. We're about to set up a full alumni program for that. So everyone who attends gets 12 months of mentoring. And then we keep track of those projects. And as you know, a couple of people are presenting from their projects here today. So yeah, we just very much encourage people to think about staying on for the leadership program as well if you're coming to Oxford. But I might just, I mean, I'm not sure that there's a huge amount more, but we're just wondering if Tiff or Carleen or Alison wanted to add any other bits and pieces.
I think you've covered most of it. Thanks, Kathy.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay. Are we mentioning New Zealand at all yet, Kathy?
Oh, yes, actually we should. Actually, there's probably a couple of other things, and I might actually throw to Alison about the main statement in a minute. I'm not sure whether we've got that on the agenda later on, but yes, we have now planned and booked to run a leadership program in New Zealand. That will be at the end of October this year. And so that's going to be a very exciting new initiative for us. So this will be, I think, that'll be our 5th program that we'll have run for the leadership program. So stay tuned. There is, I think, Jen, there's information on our website already that we're starting to promote that. And I don't know whether Tiff or Alison wanted to just say something about the main statement.
I'll leave Tiff to do it because I think Tiff did the presentation to the Americas, didn't you, Tiff, or Europe or somewhere?
Yeah, I did it to the Europeans, that's correct. And I don't have the slides in front of me, and then now I feel like I can't remember anything that was in it. But why don't we come back to me while I look that up, and I'll talk to it a little bit later. Yeah.
Actually, it's probably a good idea. I'll get the slides maybe to share a couple later on the agenda if we've got time. Tiff, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we can just move this through this next session of mine. We're just open for anybody to ask any questions from the management committee If anybody's got any questions, now's the time to take advantage of the fact we've got people here. My only update was just to say that I did attend the leadership program in Adelaide as well, and there were a number of people here that were that are on this meeting that were there too, and it was a fantastic few days there. Great food, great company, and great sort of accommodation. What was for me because I was at the cricket ground. But the enthusiasm, I think, in that room was amazing. And I know we've got some fabulous projects that are coming out of it, which is what we're aiming to present at these next few regional network meetings. So we're starting today with Sharon and Victoria and Jo, but I don't know if anybody else has got anything they want to add that was at the leadership programme to that, but or shall we just move on to our presentations? And then we've got time for TAFE later. Okay, so Sharon, I think is that somebody saying something? Okay, so Sharon and Victoria, if you want to go first.
Yep. We just want to share our slide. Can you? Yep. Anything came up yet? No?
Yep, let's see, Sharon. Just need to start the show, slideshow.
Okay. All right, so our project was Achieving Excellence in Practice. And I have Victoria with me, and with me, we also have another colleague named Bobby Penny. Some of you might know as well. She's also part of this project. So I'll just give an overview of how what our project is about. So this is our elevated pitch. So pretty much we aim to find a way to improve the culture of organization and value and prioritize fundamentals of care to improve the morale of the staff, improvement and patient satisfaction and outcome. We know that fundamentals of
Sharon, you
care.
need to start the slideshow properly. It's not moving. We can see the outline. Sorry.
Oh. I think I'm gonna ask Victoria to share.
Sure, just a sec.
Sharon, sometimes the trick is that you share your screen, not the window.
Yeah.
And having said that, you watch me make all the mistakes in the world when I come to do it.
Only got one screen today.
There's something about put your slideshow on and then share the whole screen.
You got it, Victoria?
Yep, it's coming up now.
Hopefully, can you see that now?
Yeah, so if you just go to slideshow. Yeah, and then from the beginning. Does that not take it off? No, we've lost it altogether, Victoria. There we go.
You got it there now?
Yeah.
Green.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you. Take it away, Sharon.
All right. So going back to our elevator pitch. So we know that fundamentals of care needs are not met and fundamentals of care is misunderstood. We have also come up with, we want to help the organization shift from an approach of task-based nursing and focus on a non-care related KPIs to a stronger integrated approach to meeting the complexity of the patient needs. And we will need top-down support and bottom-up growth to make this happen. So I'll go to the opportunity of change. So what we are exactly looking at. So the problem, how the fundamentals of care framework translate to practice is misunderstood. There is inconsistency across the organization of its application to practice. And why this is important. So improving the delivery of fundamentals of care that improves the outcome experiences of our patients and their families and reduces harm, and having staff satisfaction and retention is improved. Evidence we need evidence that staff are able to apply the framework to practice and that fundamental care needs are met for patients and for the family. Evidence would be reflected in patient satisfaction survey and fundamentals of care peer review results. So currently in counties, we at Health New Zealand, we have 6 monthly fundamentals of care reviews that we do. And that's where we look at the feedbacks of about more than 230 to 50 patients, where we go and interview the patients and see how the case has been while they were in the hospital. We do the same for our staff as well. And we also do an interview of our managers. And we pull in the data around complaints, incidents, patient feedback, current inpatient survey data, and include the research findings that currently Bobby is working on and Kath is also working on, and looking at the staff retention data. So that we already have. What we want to generate is the learning needs analysis to determine the staff understanding of fundamentals of care, which will be the high key areas to focus. So at the moment, we don't know where our staff are. Although we can reflect on the cares, but exactly what is the nurses taking in, we are not quite sure at that part. So what evidence is there that fundamental of care is a solution? So we already know there's many strategies in place. So we all have patient safety and quality standards here at Health New Zealand. Accreditation is there, is evident, but none of these are actually fixing the problem around the case for our patient. Yeah, so these are the opportunity for change, and I'll let Victoria to continue the change in our timeline.
Yeah, so the impact we want is to have improved patient experience and staff experiences. So we want to be seeing less incidences, better patient outcomes, and we want to be retaining our staff. So we need to change mindsets of our, or have a shift in culture around getting value and understanding in fundamental care. And being able to improve what we do with peer reviews and documentation and our education that we're giving and supporting our staff with understanding fundamental care. So we do have targeted fundamental of care education, which Sharon facilitates. And that's been going on for a little while in the organisation, a couple of years now, Sharon, isn't it? And it's current, and it's been tweaked a little bit, even more so since we both attended the leadership program in Adelaide. They've now included the self-assessment tool of the fundamental care framework, which is really cool because it's a good talking piece to be able to assess yourself on where you are and being able to think about what you might be able to take away and do in your clinical area. But that study day is one study day, and what we also want to do is be able to embed fundamental care practice and education into all of our education and training, and at all levels, from our graduate nurses up to senior leadership. So doing the learning needs analysis, we want to establish where gaps are, where focus needs to be honed in, so that we can really do that and make steps in achieving our impact. So the timeline that we've got, we met with our mentors. We have got our mentors Mette, is it Mette Groger from Denmark, and we've got Devin Carr from the US. I want to say from Maine. He's from Maine, isn't he? Yeah, Devin from Maine. And so we've met with them and we've discussed our action plan. And we, as a project team, Sharon and Bobby and I try and meet fortnightly to try and progress our work that we've been doing. We've drafted a learning needs analysis, which is in the step of going to the Fundamental Care Operational Group for review and for feedback, so that we know we're measuring that what we're wanting to measure is appropriate. And then we will go through and undertake that learning needs analysis. The other things that have happened kind of in alignment with this is that we've gone to an organisational-wide nursing orientation. We've had a lot of workforce turnover, and we've had our nurse educators doing a lot of onboarding and orientating of staff. And so what we've wanted to do is try and release some of that burden and that duplication of orientation and onboarding, and we're cohorting all our new starts every couple of weeks, and they'll come in and do a 4-day orientation program. So in that, they will be doing some fundamental care focus. We've also got a lot of internationally qualified nurses that have come in from the likes of Philippines and India, and have come from areas where their nursing has been quite different to what we do here in New Zealand, quite task focused, not so gaps in communication and basic hygiene cares as well. Like some people come in and they say, oh, we've never had to do a shower or anything. That's been all up to the family. Or engaging with my patients, I've never had to introduce myself or greet the patient by name, because that's not something we do. So just trying to orientate people and socialize people to how we do things here and how we engage with our patients. And we've also put in some fundamental care into the onboarding of our healthcare assistants, our bureau nurses, our new graduate nurses, and new charge nurse managers. So there's little bits and pieces that have been going on, but we really want to establish where the need is and how we can progress it more. So plans for next month, yep, the LNA draft will go to the operational group. We also have a Transformational Thursday, we call it. It's a local engagement forum for all charge nurses and our nursing workforce. They can come along and learn about initiatives that are happening in the hospital. So it's a really good forum to get onto. And so we'll be hopefully presenting some of the results from the LNA and what we're proposing moving forward. Yeah, and then with the LNA, we will make any necessary adaptations that we need to do to education and training that we've made evidence. But we also want to grow the support and who facilitates this. So to utilise the support of our nurse educators across the organisation to deliver learning. So did you have anything more to add there, Sharon, or is there any questions?
Was that nothing to add, Sharon, or are you going to add something there?
No, all good.
No.
She's covered
Okay.
quite a lot, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That was a great presentation, and I know from working alongside and just down the corridor from you, you've made some great changes to the study days from what they were originally, Sharon, and I know you got quite a lot of buy-in from charge. Would you like to explain that a little bit, how you kind of turned it around so that they go back now and do the work rather than everybody having to come to you?
So when we started doing the fundamentals of care study days, we changed the name first to achieving excellence in care. So we don't call it fundamentals of care anymore, because every time we call fundamentals of care, everyone thought it's an audit. And then they'll come with a mindset to the study day, we're going to talk about audit. And it was really hard to change their mindset that it's actually not an audit. We are just monitoring. It's just a snapshot of the care that you're providing. But actually what you're doing daily is what we are focusing on. So once we changed the name, and then the charge nurses So the main study day that we do is for the 8 hours, and that's where there's a mixture of staff. So registered nurses, charge nurses, we have CNDs, healthcare assistant, all come together in one room to have that session. And that's where we start having these discussions about what the framework is and how we are tailoring this to case. And in the end, after they've done the self-assessment tool, the leadership tool that we had in Adelaide, and after that, we put them into groups and start thinking, okay, in your role, what is it that you're going to go back and do? So because sometimes the sessions we used to do before we went to Adelaide, it was very different because everyone will come in the mindset with, oh, we are short of staff, we are short of resources. But now it's actually changing because now we have good staffing. We are not really short, as we said before, but people have got more awareness now that actually what fundamentals of care is, but we don't know what is happening in practice. So we are asking this individual person to start explaining before they leave, actually what is exactly you're going to do, how you're going to influence in your role, how your role is going to help in this case. And because the charge nurses sit in such an area where they're not providing the cares directly, sometimes their area that we go and assess is more like audits to them. So once we did this session, it was a turnaround. They go back, send more staff. And then some wards have been sending like most of them, majority of them, because the charge nurse has been there. So having a buy-in from the managers was really good. And the support from the top was also good as well. Yeah.
I think we had a couple of questions there. Is it Tiffany or Jack? You've got your hand up there. So Tiffany first, then Jack.
Oh, thanks, Kath. I'm really interested in a little bit more detail, if possible, about the peer review that you say you do, because that sounds like quite a powerful way of getting practice change. Would you be happy to explain a bit more about that?
Yeah, so we have a Fundamentals of Care program here that we do every 6 months. So it's done in 4 parts. So part A is patient interview, where we randomly select 5 patients from 46 units. So 46 units or 46 wards. And then there is a set of questions that we ask about the case. Then we have part B, where we have staff interview and ward observation. And again, there's a set of questions there. And each question we say each benchmark, it's tailored to each of the domains and dimensions of the framework. So if we wanted to know as an organization how we're doing in terms of relationship, we can give a score to that. If we wanted to know how we're doing in terms of communication, there's a bit of score, and it goes in different levels. So organization level, and then service level, and then local ward level results. So actually the manager can see in the ward their result, how they're performing, and where are the areas they can improve on. So after the results come out, we give them the opportunity to review the results, and then they do a PDSA improvement cycle where they submit that. And then we work together with that and refer them to the right people where they need guidance. Say if they are doing a pamphlet for patients, then we organize or support them with the consumers if they need it, or if there's something about clinical polls or something like that, then we put them to the right committee or something that they could get more information on. Yeah, so that's how is it done.
Thanks, Sharon. Tiff, Jack, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, thank you. Hopefully my internet just said it was unstable, so you might hear me cracking through. I think it's amazing how much reach you have in your organization and what great buy-in. I just had questions or maybe some more information about the outcome measures, because I noticed you were measuring quite a few, like understanding incidents, surveys, and then mindset and organizational culture. I was just interested how you're measuring your outcomes.
So the inpatient survey sits in another, like we have someone who looks after the surveys, and some of those benchmarks, which is related to our framework, connected to, so say in the last 6 months, the patients who are discharged from the hospital, they also fill in the surveys and their experiences as well. We connect that together with what we have interviewed in the hospital, during the 6-month interview. So every 6 months we do this peer review. Apart from that, the last 6 months, all the inpatient surveys that came in, we look at some of those questions and pair it together and give them scores. So say an example would be in the inpatient survey, how has the experience been around visitors? You know, how your experience has been while you came in, and was your visitors welcome and they felt, you know, feel welcome in the area, they were shown what they were supposed to have. And then we look at checking that in with the snapshot of where we select 5 patients and we check the similar questions with them as well.
Yeah. And say your incidents, what kind of incidents are you measuring? And is that through routinely collected data, or are you doing ward-based analysis? Or
we are doing complaints and compliments.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thanks, Sharon. And I think just to refer to the comment that Jake made before about the reach that you've got in the organisation, and that's come partly since Victoria and Sharon worked together on the leadership programme. Victoria's our people and professional development lead. So instead of Sharon doing a lone study day, 8 hours, it's now embedded in all those other practices throughout the organisation with the onboarding and orientation. So it's really taking life, and I think that's a lot to be credited for you two, and also the leadership programme. Great to see some results, like concrete results coming through from that. So great job, both. Thank you very much. Victoria, Sharon, do you have anything you want to add?
No.
No, just thank you. And yeah, hopefully we can come back and share the outcome of our LNA and the changes that we make from there.
Thanks very much. Any questions from anybody else before we move on to Jo and her presentation? Round of applause there from Jake, so that's always appreciated. Okay, so Jo, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am. I'll give it a go at sharing my screen, shall I?
With the technology, yeah.
Oh dear. So what I'm just not sure about is if I'm going to be able to get the slideshow going and moving. So can you see that as the full screen now?
Yep, we got it, Jo.
Oh, amazing. Okay. Thanks, Tiff. Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Jo Murray and I'm an academic at Flinders University, but this project has come from something we're doing cross institutions, I suppose, with our local health network, the Southern Adelaide Local Health Network, which is the SALN acronym there. And the project is aiming to improve oral health care for adult inpatients across that whole network. So it's very ambitious. And I'd just like to acknowledge the team that we're working with, because I'm presenting this on behalf largely of the SALN team, who are unable to attend themselves today and who attended the leadership forum with me. And that's led by Associate Professor Justin Prendergast, who is the Executive Nursing and Midwifery Director at SALN across the network. And his project officer, Dr. Carly Moores, is an amazing person who's been the powerhouse behind this project, who unfortunately doesn't work today, so couldn't make it either. But a lot of this is her work. And Ben, where's Ben's name? Ben's name's not there. So Ben is also the Director of Nursing Education and Research here at SALN, and attended the leadership forum with us too. And what we did was we got a group together and applied for an inquiry grant through the SALN network, the Southern Local Adelaide Health Network. And we invited people from SA Dental, which is our local dental organisation. We invited the implementation experts through SA Health. We invited clinical practitioners, nurse unit managers, and us as the team from Flinders University, including Tiffany is on that research team. We wanted to also acknowledge that our patient and family representatives have been highly involved in this project, and our consumer engagement unit. And also a lot of this was on the back of some of the projects that we've done previously, the Whitaker Smiles project and the Screen Clean Hydrate teams. So acknowledging all of those people, this is not my project alone. Okay, so where did this all come from? The SALA nurses and midwives developed this professional practice model, and it was really based around the fundamentals of care and providing person and family-centred care, making evidence-based decisions. And on the back of that, they did some surveying around how the nurses and midwives think they're meeting at the moment those fundamental care needs. And this survey basically showed us that they thought they were doing well in certain areas, and the legend here on the left means those scores with the highest scores, they're doing least well. And you can see there that providing personal hygiene, cleaning, dressing, including oral health and care of the mouth, teeth and dentures, was one of those highly ranked, not doing so well aspects of physical care. And then on the other side, they were asked, what can we do to improve care and where do we need to focus our attention? And you can see there that they really focused on, again, those physical needs, providing personal hygiene, including oral health care, mouth, teeth and dentures, and they ranked that basically the 4th highest priority, being behind sleep and rest. So again, in that physical care domain. So the SALA leadership team were very keen, mostly from nursing and midwifery, to sort of get this aspect of fundamental care as a bit of a focus. And that came off the back of some of the projects that we'd been doing elsewhere in that local health network, in the GEM unit, in the geriatric management unit, and in the stroke unit specifically. So we gathered a bit of a team, which included us researchers from Flinders Uni, Tiff and myself, along with some of the clinical team who were involved in those previous projects, alongside the executive management team. Sorry, I meant to say this was a following slide before I get to our project, that the aspect of missed oral care that was found and perceived at SALA is not new or unique. And this is a European study that basically showed it's one of the most missed aspects of care. So now I'll go on. The opportunity presented itself sort of simultaneously in a way that the Australian Commission on Safety and Quality in Healthcare released a statement which was recommendations for oral care for inpatients, adult inpatients in our hospital. And along with that statement came these recommendations. So it was basically informed from some of that previous work we'd been doing, and with SA Dental as well. And we were very chuffed and very proud that that kind of made it into the national recommendations. But it was also an opportunity to now say, well, we've got this national standard that we all need to be adhering to. Let's roll this out and use it as our impetus to roll it out across the whole network. We were lucky enough to win one of those inquiry grants, as I said, and that gave us an opportunity to fund a research assistant, Shivani, who was on that first page of acknowledgements. And she's not only a research assistant, a brilliant one, but also a dental hygienist, works for SA Dental and SALA as well, so very well connected. So our innovation was to improve the oral health through implementing these Australian recommendations for oral health in adult inpatients. And that really sets out great detail what needs to be done in terms of oral health assessment, oral health planning, oral health delivery, and then oral health documentation and referrals to appropriate specialists. So that was our innovation. Our context really was, of course, we're in the wider context of a national health system where we have these recommendations. what we're aiming to do is roll it out across the whole of the organisation, Salen. We've got that support through grant funding. We've got those care principals. We've got a couple of units who've already engaged in such local projects already, the stroke unit, the GEM unit. We've been able to build some capacity in those units. We've been able to identify barriers and enablers. So we felt that we'd done a good assessment of where we were at with context. And now we were going to target staff across the hospital at all levels, including nurses and midwives, and the rest of the allied health and multidisciplinary team, medical, patient reps, etc. They'd already done that readiness for change heat maps. And so we felt that we were ready to engage. So this is our very busy project logic, I suppose. Who we had, what inputs we had, what resources we had. As I said, we had the Salen staff, we had some project staff, both from Salen, but also Flinders Uni, the implementation science unit, SA Dental, and our consumer reps. We had the grant, we had our mentors on board, which was fantastic. And we had some research media comms support as well. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to shift that, to go back. Just having trouble seeing my whole screen, that's all, sorry. Trying to move it. We had activities that we wanted to do that we were already planning to do. We wanted to survey some patients and interview some patients because those, stories really motivate staff to change practices when it's important to patients and they express what they want. We knew we needed to do a bit more education and training. We had some brilliant resources from SA Dental around training, but we need to get them accessible for all. And then an expectation that people would do that training. We wanted to look at those previous barriers and enablers and then co-design some implementation strategies specific to each ward. We knew that previously our audit feedback cycles were really effective in creating change. So they were some of the implementation strategies we were going to use. And, also some visual props and prompts were very effective in previous studies with posters. Have you cleaned your teeth today? That kind of thing around the ward. In terms of our, sorry, I'm just going to have to move my screen so I can see. Oops, I've done it again. What's next, Kathy? You can help me. The outputs. We were hoping we were going to have those recommendations, the national recommendations tailored to each of the units. Thank you. And a service plan to meet those recommendations, that we would have all of the oral care planning tools that we needed, including things like in our electronic medical record system, some templates for documenting a plan, documenting delivery. We were hoping we were going to have, as I said, the mouthcare protocol adapted for each unit, appropriate oral health assessment and referral processes. We were going to be delivering that oral care, and we were going to have some equipment and supplies. And then our outcomes, we were hoping that we would be improving for our patients the delivery of those fundamental of care in that physical domain, particularly, of course, with respect to oral hygiene, but also in a relational sense, that we were doing it well. We were hoping that that would then improve their experience of care while they're in hospital, their comfort, their satisfaction, and potentially decrease incidence and hospital-acquired complications in terms of things like pneumonias and infections. Obviously what we were hoping is that the outcomes would be that an oral health assessment is being conducted on every patient, appropriate referrals for specialist care is being made, oral hygiene is being completed and documented. From a workforce point of view, we were hoping that one of the outcomes would be that nurses have a bit more time with their patients and therefore some better job satisfaction and pride in their care, and awareness, of course, of the importance of oral health, taking some ownership in that care. Oh, sorry, everyone. And the impact, a healthier patient population, more empowered, capable health professionals, and particularly, you know, the Executive Director of Nursing was really keen that Salem be seen as the centre of care excellence. So it was a reputational thing for them that we can implement care at good quality care at scale. And he really believed in the oral care being a precursor to good care everywhere else in the system. That if you can get that one right, you can get a lot of the other ones right. Okay. So this was how we were going to measure those outcomes. That, you know, the ultimate measure would be that we have adopted, I should say, this protocol, and we're compliant. Well, adapted it for each ward, and we're compliant with it. We've adopted it, and so therefore we were going to be doing some auditing. So we were, yeah, as they're all the outcomes that I talked about before. Sorry, I have just pulled this together very quickly from previous slides, so my apologies. That's a bit of a repeat. One of the things we have done already is the patient and consumer rep group has had people going out and talking to patients at the bedside. So this is one part of our initial audit. Having a look to see whether tap water is available at the bedside, and you can see the results of the audit there with 91 patients. It was a resounding yes for water. Were oral care tools and products available and visible at the bedside? Again, quite a good result, 78%. Care's been performed a minimum twice a day. Again, pretty good. Care needs have been discussed, not so much. And care information has been provided, again, not so much. So we're doing well in some aspects and not so well in others. Oral care products being provided by the hospital when perhaps the patient didn't have them. We weren't doing that so well, and we weren't providing the care if assistance was needed so well. So the good thing about that is that those patient and consumer reps, if they really notice something bad, were able to advocate on behalf of the patients to their nursing coordinators or managers if they needed that equipment or extra assistance or education perhaps. So that's one of the things we've done. And again, as I said, those patient experiences and stories are really important in terms of motivating staff. And so there's some of the quotes that those patient and consumer family reps have taken from patients that they interviewed. A mix of positive and negative. Other things we've done, last week it was World Oral Health Day, and Shivani, our fantastic research assistant and dental hygienist, brought a whole heap of resources and promotional material from SA Dental. We had a display in the courtyard in the hospital. People were able to pick up toothbrushes and interdental brushes and toothpaste and so on. We've had a survey, a Qualtrics survey put out to all of the wards across Salem, basically as a call for who wants to be an early adopter of, and you know, the nursing unit managers have responded. I don't know the outcome of that yet. Those people will then go forward and do an organisational audit, like at a ward level, and look at their product ordering and different systems across the wards that support good delivery of oral health. And then we'll be honing in on, and this will probably be our research assistant Shivani's job, to look at a select group of patients on that ward then, and looking through their medical records about the care processes that are being delivered. Are they having an oral health assessment? Are they receiving referrals for specialist care? Is there an oral health care plan? Is it being delivered and documented, etc.? So we're in the middle of that. Lastly, I just wanted to acknowledge that this came out of the ILC leadership program as well, that we were allocated a couple of mentors, as Sharon and Victoria mentioned. I think it was Victoria, I'm sorry if I've got that wrong. Our mentors are also Devon Carr, but we also have Tiffany Conroy, who's like in a dual role in a way. She's on the research team and also a mentor. And so we've had a number of meetings and all agreed on the mentoring plan, what we wanted from our mentors, which were really, advice for that big scale up. How do you get something small that you've done on one ward across a whole health network? It's just basically care transformation. And we wanted to have a strategic relationship. This again was one of Justin, the Executive Director of Nursing's, big motivation was to have a connection with another big health organisation internationally, so that we can kind of learn from each other, not just about this aspect of fundamental care, but others as well. And so we then nutted down what specifically we wanted from Devon and from Tiff, and we've had a series of meetings with our mentors already. So that's all I've got. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And I'm sorry, that was a little bit of a Cook's Tour, quick compilation of slides from multiple areas, not kind of my best work, but it was a bit short notice. I'm sorry. And on behalf of really the team who've done a heap of that work.
Thanks so much, Jo, and that was great to explain and describe how you did make it bigger and across an organisation from a small project starting off. So it's really good to hear that and your experiences of the benefits of the leadership programme. Got a couple of questions coming up here now. Kathy, I think you were first up there, and then Jake, if you want to go next.
Yeah, thanks, Jo. Great presentation. It's so delightful to see both you and Sharon embrace the tools that we provided, and using the program logic makes my heart sing. Thank you so much. The question I had is, well, it was more of a comment. I remember Devon Carr giving a great example at one of the Americas regional networks around oral care, and it was a procurement issue. And so what they found is in their hospital, they have a large procurement program and which they subscribe to. And someone in that procurement program had randomly said they're going to change the oral care kit that they use. So in their hospital, the hospital supplies an oral care kit for every patient. And the one they'd been using was really good, and the staff were really happy, and it really helped them focus on oral care. And it was, it did everything that they wanted. And when they changed the procurement decision, they got this substandard product that really almost discouraged people from getting good oral care. So then we had a debate in the Americas Network about there being an ILC position statement about the role of nurses and allied health in the procurement process. So how important it was to have those people at the table in the decision-making process, rather than a decision being made and then fighting a rearguard action to get it changed. Now, they did get it changed. They did fight the rearguard action, but they succeeded. And they're now talking about the policy in the hospital being no procurement decisions without nurses and allied health people being part of the decision-making process. So,
well, that is very impressive. And without a doubt, I mean, all aspects of healthcare and all of those departments or whatever we're going to call them, has to be about delivering the best quality care to the patient. So of course it's got to have clinicians, involved in making the decisions, you'd think. It's like, let's get this, robotic surgical thing without talking to the surgeons.
Hi, Jo.
Yeah.
That I feel like this is exactly what I like about this group is it's a perfect example where like research meets practice, and I think it would be a great opportunity for a scalable implementation trial. I was just like looking at all like your criteria and your scope. It's perfect. I could see it going across multiple hospitals, Australia-wide or even across the world. Which is very exciting. I just question the audits that you did. Did you have them over time? Because I think, I don't know if I just missed it, but there was is it a single time point audit there, or do you have the audit results over time at all? No, like
Yeah, really good question, Jake. So first of all, can I just comment on the first idea that you mentioned about, you know, multiple sites and implementation trial and the combination of practice with research. So you're right, what we're trying to do is have an overlay of implementation science, you know, knowledge translation, science, I suppose, using a framework across this rollout of care. And that's where Tiff and I have been involved. To do such a project on a national kind of scale would require, you know, are we going to do like a cluster step or a step wedge sort of implementation trial, you know, like if we put a research framework around it. So implementation is one thing, can we roll it out? But if we put a research framework around it, you know, it's a bigger undertaking, but really important because that's going to show effectiveness. You know, that's what's going to be convincing people about the evidence for implementation effectiveness, I suppose. This works, you know. The second thing was the, oh goodness, can you remind me?
I just
Sorry.
it's over time.
The audits, yeah. Sorry. So we have a purpose-built audit tool that we'd kind of taken from a previous, you know, SA Dental project with Alison, and we adapted that for our geriatric ward and our stroke ward. So we've actually had that audit tool all along. What we've done this time is sort of split it up into, these are the things you can ask the patient and observe at the patient's bedside, and we've split that up so that the family and patient reps can do that. This is the stuff that the organisation at the ward level and the NUM kind of level, nurse unit manager, can just know. This is what we have or we don't have, products, etc. So we split that up for the NUM, and then what are the care processes that are being delivered? Is there an oral health assessment? Is there a plan? We've split up into the medical record documentation that the research assistant will do. So that's all come from the one audit tool, but we've split it up into the how we're going to deliver, implement that. What we're planning to do is do that before we go for an implementation co-design strategies, and then implement those strategies. What does your ward need? What are your barriers? What are your facilitators? You might need products, but this one needs training. You might need posters, but this one needs, you know, audit cycles to see and improve what they're choosing as their implementation strategies. And then we'll reorder after. So it's really a pre-post. So at this stage, there's only a plan for 2, and then potentially down the track maintenance. But we've only got this grant for like 12 months. So by the time the wheels get moving, it's going to be like a pre and a post. So at 2 time points. But once you have an audit tool, you can choose when and how you administer that.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting. And I was just looking at the Cochrane EPOC, and a lot of your implementation strategies are match up to theirs very clearly, which is great.
Great, thank you.
Well, that's great feedback and great questions. Are there any more questions for Jo before we move on? I think Tiffany, we could have your contribution next. I don't know if you're going to present anything or she's gone. She's here.
Hey, thanks, Kath. I'm just in the chat putting the link to the statement so that people can get it there, and there's the reference. Thanks, Kathy. Could you move on to the next slide, please? So this is a background. Given the time, I won't labour this too much. I'm pretty sure we're all here because we know that we need to improve focus on fundamental care, and we recognise the importance of it. But when we were in Maine, we worked out how we really wanted to come up with some really action-oriented strategies, because we have been, as Kathy said, the ILC has been around for about 15 years. And we have had several position statements before. Some of you will be familiar with the Alberg statement and the Oxford statement. And the Oxford statement obviously came after the COVID pandemic and was very much focused on I suppose, preventing nurses and midwives and allied health people being used as cannon fodder. Now we were going, okay, if we're really going to focus on fundamental care, what are 4 action strategies that we can take? So these were the 4 that we came up with, the 4 A's. So we first of all have address non-nursing tasks. So there was a lot of talk about how nurses get sucked into doing other people's work for them at the expense of them having time with the patients to focus on fundamental care. And that we needed to push back on that. Devon had some really good examples that he was able to share. Things like nurses cleaning beds between patients, nurses going to collect blood from the blood bank, nurses escorting patients to their transport, all of those sorts of things that did not need a nurse, but because there was no one else available, nurses were stepping in to do those jobs. So they were things we need to start pushing back on. A lot of data collection, a lot of documentation that is done is also not for nursing or patient care purposes. So we were talking about how if we're going to protect time for fundamental care, that's something we can do. The other one we wanted to focus on was about accentuating the positive. So rather than, and the example was given in, instead of talking about falls prevention, we start talking about mobility promotion and really flipping it to saying, what do we want people to be doing, not what do we want to avoid, and using that real affirmative language when we're talking about the care that we provide. The third one was about generating indicators and measures. Now, we've been working in this measure space for a while. We have done work in that area, and Victoria and Sharon referred to the Fundamentals of Care Self-Assessment tool. So these are all things that are under development for both practice and in education at this stage. And the other thing was, and Jo is a wonderful example of this, is that whilst nursing leads and midwifery lead a lot of fundamental care, we can't do this in isolation. Our interdisciplinary colleagues are our best allies. We've heard from them about how much these things matter to them too. So we need to create those relationships, include them in our care delivery, and support them when they're trying to improve fundamental care as well. So the next few slides go into each of these 4 in a little bit more detail. Meetings, there we go in terms of not going to meetings, and if we're going to a meeting, how is this improving fundamental care and why is it a good use of nursing time? Talking about having fundamental care rounds, so at the bedside and including our patients in there and getting that information from them. And leveraging, I think, the focus on safety and quality. And it was interesting to hear Katie's talk before about flipping that safety and quality into actually how can we create well-being and a focus on care. If we move on to the positive, I've already spoken to about that. And again, about linking with existing structures like risk assessment and how we can incorporate that and leverage that to improve fundamental care. Accessing evidence, so using the tools that I've already mentioned. And again, the work that's happening in New Zealand, which is a really great example of those patient-generated outcome measures. What matters to patients? Their compliments, their complaints, the things that they care about. Let's use them as our evidence. Let's use them as our rationale and our reason, and even as a way of evaluating what we do and how well we provide fundamental care. And then finally, we did talk, and again, really exciting work happening in New Zealand about incorporating this into induction for all staff. This is not restricted to nursing and midwifery. If we want a culture of fundamental care in our organisations, we all need to be on board. We all need to understand how important it is. And if it's in part of the general staff induction, from the people who come to work in the administrative roles, to all of the support staff that we have, and again, all of the healthcare professionals, we're all pulling in the same direction. We have much more chance of making this work. So that's a very brief overview. The statement is being published, open access. It is available for people to access via the journal website, and it is located on the ILC website as well. So happy to take any questions at this point if anybody has any. Scared them all off, Kath, I think. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Tiffany. And I think it's a good comment that you made about making it valuable and available and known to every member of staff in the hospital, that it's everybody's responsibility and not just nursing, although nurses may lead it. And I love about flipping those things on the head as well, that you were saying, to make them more sort of affirmative rather than deficit focused. Really, really sort of good way forward. Does anybody else have any questions for Tiff about the main statement there, or anything else for that matter just at this point?
Kath, just quickly, what we're doing, we've done these slides will be available for people to log in and have another look at these. But what we're planning to do is produce some summary statements so that members can actually, like download a bit of a fact sheet about the main statement with some ideas about how you might use the main statement in your organisation. And one of the things we did at the European network meeting was, after Tiff did an amazing presentation, everyone was then asked to say, how will I use the main statement to progress fundamentals of care in my organisation? So everyone kind of then contributed their views about that. So maybe at our next meeting, we might even put that on our agenda and then give everyone some time to read the statement. And by then we should have some tools that we can provide to people, and we'll circulate those, make them available via our communications via Jen. And then we can maybe have a bit more of a fuller conversation about, okay, where to from here? How might we use the main statement to advocate?
That sounds like a fantastic idea for our next meeting, Kathy. A really good interactive session there. I just wondered, does anybody have any questions? Or I know one thing I'd like to say is that thank you to our admin team for the way that we've got people registering for these events now, rather than just having to distribute the emails. I think that seems to have worked really well. So appreciate your work on that. I think it's nice at this point to say, we have got a section here now where it's, what do you want? What are you leading? What are you all up to? And I think that's for people to report back about what they're doing, anything they are doing at this moment in time. Jake, was a comment there to, it might be nice to have a summary of the main statement so we can share on social media. Perhaps a good idea, a short snippet. Yeah, so I think we'll put that on our agenda for next time. Great idea. Does anybody have any questions or comments or anything they'd like to suggest for future regional network meetings? Okay, well, we'll corral people for presentations going forward, but we think we've got our plan now. So if everybody's okay to do that, I'll close the meeting now with a karakia. So kia te tau araha me te atawhai, I runga I ata toa katoa, tu taua mai roto, kia tau ai te marutu, te mariora ki te katoa, hui e tākie. So someone from above, below, within, from the outside environment, to calm and settle the vital inner essence, the well-being of everyone. Be joined together, united. So go well for the rest of the day, whatever part of the day you're on. And thank you, everybody. It's been a great meeting.